All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Kodash, the belongs to the elders and apostles of Graven Stone. Shalom to the elect, pushing this word in truth and in sincerity, with over receiving mercy from Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father. Yahweh Shai is the name of his only begotten Son. The so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the Israelites according to the prophecies that are written in the scriptures. I want to make it known that the RFID microchip is the MOTB. The serpent juice is the precursor to the MOTB. Yahushua, indwelling called Jesus, is about to make his return upon the earth to deliver his elect and to pour out judgment as written. So I'm going to go straight into this lesson concerning port workers threatening about strike. So when I read this headline, it's a potential port strike could mean big problem for U.S. supply chain. You have no idea. You know, I have so much things taking place around the world, you know, and this now, I got to Babylon would be a massive setback in their economy, yo. So I wanna run this clip, but before I run this clip, I wanna read this headline with the below video. It's a 45 U.S. port workers set to strike. It says the port strike could hit consumer, auto parts, and bananas export. It could have hit everything will get supplied, everything that get imported and exported from America is going to be affected, man. Every single thing. I know the ripple effect that would have on the economy, but listen.
The nation's consumer supply chain faces severe disruptions if dock workers at ports along the East and Gulf Coasts go on strike, and the deadline is quickly approaching. Investigator Tim McNicholas is in Jersey City with the details and the possible fallout.
Work at some of the busiest ports in North America could soon come to a halt.
When my men hit the streets, from Maine to Texas, every single port, a lockdown.
The union, which represents more than 40,000 longshoremen at 36 ports, including major hubs like Charleston, Houston, and Miami, is demanding wage increases as well as protection from job-killing automation.
I've been fighting automation for years. They destroyed L.A.
Workers are threatening to strike.
You understand? I'm fight automation for years, yo, which is the implementation of artificial intelligence in the workforce, meaning they will have less workers. Same say, I fight these things, so they have automation and fight, plus they have a problem with the wages that they're getting already.
Of a new labor agreement with shipping companies represented by the United States Maritime Alliance is not reached by October 1st.
All activity in the Port of New York and New Jersey with regards to containerized cargo and automobile cargo will cease.
Each year, more than $200 billion worth of goods, including car parts, construction materials, and produce pass through the Port of New York and New Jersey alone. That trade supports more than 500,000 local jobs.
A 2-week strike could, cause these disruptions to feed into early 2025.
Ryan Sweet with Oxford Economics says if a deal isn't reached in time, a stoppage could disrupt more than half of U.S. shipping traffic.
This is going to be very disruptive to the U.S. economy.
In a statement to CBS News, the U.S. Maritime Alliance says it has not been able to schedule new bargaining sessions with the union, adding the only...
So, When I heard about this news from brothers' videos, elder brother Yeshawamba, the elder brother Amawan Gabar, you know, I look up that information and I notice every single news station, alternative news media going in on this, yo. And I'm like, this look very, very, very suspicious and very spooky, yo. This look basically engineered, but I'm not gonna focus on that. you know, we're just gonna bring out the information concerning what's going on. And this scripture is the first scripture came to mind. And we get Ezekiel 5, verse 16. When I shall send upon them the evil arrows of famine, which shall be for their destruction, and which I will send to destroy you, and I will increase the famine upon you, and will break your staff of bread. This is what Yahweh Shimon Shai is bringing upon the earth, man. The staff of bread, it means of how you provide for yourself, the Lord will remove it from you. And as we have said here at GMS, this is being engineered by the global elites because they're the ones engineering this collapse. And don't believe that this is just going to affect America. It's going to affect various countries around the world. Verse 17. So will I send upon you famine and evil beasts, and they shall bereave thee, and pestilence and blood shall pass through thee, and I will bring the sword upon thee. I, Yahweh, have spoken it, and the Lord hath declared this, yo. And I'm going to bring these things to pass. So you proud as so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans don't understand the times that you're in. And all the energy that you find to mock and scoff at the prophets in the times to come, you better have that energy to go find food, yo. Because there is going to be lack of jobs in the streets. I've did multiple videos recently concerning the amount of layoff coming out from different sectors of society, from the music industry, the automotive industry, isn't it? The food industry, different retailers, you know, and the amount of firing that they're speaking of is in the thousands from various countries, yo. When you talk about the tech industry, people don't have a clue what's about to take place, and that's the reason why Elon Musk came out and said a lot of people ain't going to be having jobs in the times to come due to AI, you know, and start talk about the global basic income. And anytime that system come online with them about global basic income, they are the ones who's going to be in control of what you do, yo, what you eat. And we can see all these things aligning right now. So a lot of people not understand how this is going to affect them. But let's see how this is going to affect the consumers.
Expert Bindia McKill. She is the CEO of Resolink. Vindhya, great to see you. How bad will this be, particularly for people who go out shopping, retailers, importers, looking ahead to the holiday shopping season? I know that they're trying to pull forward some of the goods coming from overseas, but a strike's a strike.
Absolutely. And as you said, a lot of companies had factored in the potential of a strike into their holiday season plans. I'm happy to say most likely holiday season is secure. However, Reslink's data shows that even a 2-week...
You was to say, holiday season is secure, so in their minds, due to them have goods store up, the holiday season is secure. But as I said, the ripple effect is going to continue even into 2005 if this strike do commence.
Strike could result in a pretty long, extended supply chain disruption well into 2025.
So are there different avenues, though, Bindhya, that our shippers can use to get their product into the U.S.? Again, as people look to Christmas, they like to have a lot of options on the store shelves. What are the workarounds here?
Yeah, so when early June, when the port workers first ceased negotiations, Resolink alerted our customers about this looming threat, and a lot of companies did the following 3 things. They looked at, could they pull in demand? Could they buy from another site that could ship from a different port or get capacity on another lane? If you're buying from Europe, which 20% of the imports from Europe come through these ports, those are definitely disrupted, and there aren't a whole lot of good choices. But the earlier that companies have warning, they can shift capacity, buy ahead, and if you're a small and medium-sized business, you're completely relying on these ports, then you definitely have a bigger impact to revenue and cost.
Let me look at it this way. You get a supply chain disruption because of a strike, that's inflationary. Also, though, if the demands of the union are met and these workers get a nearly 80% pay increase, isn't that inflationary as well?
I will say we are seeing protests and riots are 4 times higher in the first half of this year compared to last year. This is globally, by the way. We're seeing 40% increase in labor issues.
I like what you said that, because I said it a minute ago. This is globally, by the way. You should just make sure that you put that in there, because a lot of people may be watching this and believe that this is just going to affect America. This is going to affect we out here in Jamaica too, and the rest of the world.
Resolink's data shows a 39% increase in port disruptions. So this is one of many things that are hitting the supply chain. Obviously, Red Sea, the Panama Canal, the threat on the Canadian rail strike. So there's a lot happening in the supply chain today, not only in the U.S., but globally, that has an impact to cost and pricing. And don't forget, interest rates are very high for companies right now.
That's right.
You should make mention of interest rates. Alright, so let's put things in perspective. Before these things even take place, because it's not happening yet, this is a threat, a looming threat. People was already financially unstable. That's why them ask for a wage increase. When you read Haggai 1 verse 5, this is what the scripture says. Now therefore, thus saith Yahweh of hosts, consider your ways. Ye have sown much and bring in little. Ye eat, but ye have not enough. Ye drink, but ye are not filled with drink. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages earning wages to put it into a bag with O's. So the money we were making already wasn't enough to make ends meet. So this, just imagine now if you have this strike and the effect it will have on goods. Because out here in Jamaica, we're already feeling the price going into these supermarkets, various grocery stores, buying certain produce that we usually buy. The money we used to go to the supermarkets with cannot buy the same amount of food that you buy last month. And it's getting worse and worse day by day. But as I said, due to the fact that these people can go to them ILO, them Shoppers here, them Mega Mart, you know, them Super Plus, and see the shelves stocked with food, then believe that everything is okay. They can go to them corner shop. But it will come to pass that these places, when not even can afford the goods in the area. And these are the times that we're heading into. And you can have many more things that affect the global scheme of things, such as natural disaster. That's why they may be making mention heavily about climate change. Because at any time, because now you have Allen, I go up to the Gulf of Mexico, pointing, going up to Florida. You have a lot of storms. I'm saying Allen is a storm. You have tornadoes tearing up various places in America. So you have a lot of things that affect the economy already. But no one considered that Yahweh Hashem Yahshua is the one who was bringing this stress upon the earth. You have wars and rumors of wars taking place on the global scheme of things. Now you have US move one of them military ships near, I want to say, the Philippines, and China isn't sitting too well with that. You know, and you already have conflict taking place over there in Europe between Russia and Ukraine. You have conflict going on in the Middle East with so-called Israel and the surrounding countries. Right now, mainly Lebanon, because you're not hearing anything much about Hamas anymore. But these are the times that we're in which the elites are about to collapse the economy to bring in the new world order here under the guise of sustainable development.
Mark my words, we'll shut them down October 1st if we don't get Texas, every single port.
I'm going to get you up to date with the looming situation and what is known about the cruise impact, and it's all coming up. Time workers in North America. They have 85,000 workers. The current contract with the union expires at midnight on September 30th. They do not have a contract, and as of the time of this recording, talks have stalled. Right now, many believe a strike is very likely. According to CNBC, a strike would shut down 36 ports across the U.S. East Coast and Gulf Coast. Some of the major concern for cruising comes as you look at the association's map and consider the ports that would be impacted. Looking at the major ports, it includes places such as New Orleans, Mobile, Tampa, Miami, Jacksonville, Baltimore, New York, and others. Now, aside from the question about cruise operations, the economic impact would be huge.
Between 43 to 49% of all monthly U.S. imports arrive at the ports that are at risk. So what is it that the union is after? Well, here's a very short clip of the union president stating what they want.
Mark my words, we'll shut them down October 1st if we don't get the kind of wages we deserve. Container royalty, top-notch health care, and no automation terminals or semi-automated terminals.
It should be noted that the effort to stop the ports from becoming automated and taking their jobs is a big part of their push. Here's a short clip of the union president discussing that.
If they go to put a fully automated terminal, we are going to shut them down around the world and put them out of business. Now, we might shut them down for 3 weeks.
You hear them say? Shut them down around the world. So that means they have ports in other countries going through the same dilemma.
To send them a strong message. None of your ships are going to move. But if they think they're going to keep going and putting on fully automated terminals and knocking out great jobs that dock workers have worked for 200 years to bring these people to where they are today. And now it's all about greed and money. They don't need us no more. They want to put a full...
You just say, they don't need us no more, yo. Because gradually, these workers are there and they're seeing the implementation of automation. Even in these retail stores, when they start that mention of self-checking out and these things, in banks, you have no need for bank tellers. These are the times that we're in. That's why they make mention of a universal basic income. Because you won't be needed for a lot of people in the job force. Then I'll bring in robots, yo. AI controlled robots.
Automated terminal in and get rid of us. I'm not going to allow that. I will never allow that. You understand me? So this is a must. We're going to have this alliance, and we're going to make it work. We're going to show the companies we have the power, not you. We will tell you, you are not going to do it no more.
So right now, a resolution does not appear to be close. The talks have stopped, and the current position of the administration is that they will not intervene. Now, discussion about what could happen, it is growing among cruisers. Individuals in Facebook groups are concerned about their cruises. There are also active discussion boards on websites such as Cruise Critic and Royal Caribbean Blog. One of the difficulties as cruisers are looking into this is that the major news outlets are focusing on the cargo and economic impact, and typically they do not even mention passenger operations. This is because they have a greater focus on the speculation of how a shutdown could impact the November elections and the desperation by retail businesses who need the goods for their fourth quarter holiday sales push. Regarding the threat to retail operations, here is one final short clip from the union president discussing that.
Let me explain something to you. These people today don't know what a strike is.
Right.
When my men hit the streets, from Maine to Texas, every single port will lock down. You know what's going to happen? I'll tell you. First week, be all over the news every night, boom, boom. Second week, guys who sell cars can't sell cars because the cars ain't coming in off the ships. They get laid off. Third week, malls start closing down. They can't get the goods from China. They can't sell clothes. They can't do this. Everything in the United States comes on a ship. They go out of business. Construction workers get laid off because the materials aren't coming in. The steel's not coming in. The lumber's not coming in. They lose their job. Everybody's hating the longshoremen now because now they realize how important our jobs are. Now I have the president screaming at me, I'm putting a Taft-Hartley on you. Go ahead. Taft-Hartley means I have to go back to work for 90 days. That's a cooling off period. Do you think when I go back for 90 days, those men are going to go to work on that pier? It's going to cost the companies money to pay their salaries. Well, they went from 30 moves an hour maybe to 8. They're going to be like this. Who's going to win here in the long run? You're better off sitting down and let's get a contract and let's move on with this world. In today's world, I'll cripple you. I will cripple you.
So what is going to happen with cruising? Well, I have done a lot of
So you see, the level of disturbance this is gonna cause if this strike really do commence. And the grinding is already ceasing in certain departments here. You have a lot of layoff taking place. But just while I saw this, and I'm just gonna click just to see, it's a exploding. Economists warn federal debt is near grim level. So I'm just gonna watch a snippet of this. I'm gonna close.
All right, he heads the Congressional Budget Office, and he's probably one of the saner figures on Capitol Hill. And that is not meant to besmirch other figures on Capitol Hill or to minimize his importance. But Philip Swagel has been warning for quite some time about the state of the nation's debt. It's getting bigger. It's exploding, in fact. And no matter which candidate you prefer for president, under each of their economic plans, it stands to go up trillions more in an environment where the Federal Reserve is meeting, and by tomorrow will likely cut interest rates at least another quarter point. So that could be a time to refinance some of that debt, to deal with some of that debt. Hope springs eternal. Mr. Swagel joins us now. Philip, good to have you.
Yeah, Neil, thanks so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
I always enjoy having you on because I do mean what I say. You're one of the saner characters on the Hill. And again, that is not a criticism. It comes at a time when the debt is exploding, and it's always been this sort of, no big deal. Everyone's always worried about it, but it keeps getting bigger, and nothing has exploded on us. But you're worried that day might not be too far off, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the challenge with the fiscal trajectory, is that we're okay now, and interest rates have come down from where they were 6 months ago or 12 months ago. But we can look into the future and see that debt is rising. I mean, we're on track this year for another $2 trillion deficit, which means more debt,
right?
And that will feed into interest rates. So even with the Fed cutting, the longer term looks to be one of higher rates, and that feeds back into the fiscal situation.
And I think there tends to be, on both parties' part, a sort of a false description of the narrative. For example, in the Biden administration, the deficit is down. Or you say, a $2.5 trillion deficit that's now in the one-something range, and we mark that as progress, when any deficit is just added to our debt, and that's what's gotten into this explosive situation. I'm just wondering how we deal with that. I mean, if we're not politically going to do something about it, we can always refinance some of this stuff, can't we, at lower rates?
Yeah, I mean, we can refinance, as you said, and that's a good thing that the Treasury Department now is able to sell its bonds at interest rates that are lower. It's just
right now the worst time to say you're gonna buy bonds, though. Don't make them trick you.
looking out that the supply of Treasury securities coming to the market to finance our debt is going to rise over time. And I think about it in terms of risk, that in the future, we don't know what interest rates will be like. We don't know, what situations will be facing the country and what our fiscal needs will be. So, this goes back to look at the roof while the weather is good. Yeah. And the economy is doing okay now, so it's time to look at the fiscal roof.
So if we don't, and I'm always troubled because sometimes politicians will act on voter angst.
Let's go to the scriptures, bro. This is Ecclesiastes 12, straight to the point, verse 3. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble. And just how you one of the keepers of the house just go out there, trembling. And the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, talking about the lack of jobs. And the man just break down. If this do come to pass, or a lot of people are going to lose their jobs, or it will affect the economy. And those that look out of the windows be darkened, meaning there's no hope in sight. And the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low. And he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughter of music shall be brought low. We are witnessing these things playing out gradually before our eyes, yo, in which we almost see these things, we have to be astonished, knowing that these things were foretold to take place, yo. So we're gonna watch to see how this is gonna play out. Because when I read I say Habakkuk 2, starting at verse 4, it says, Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gather unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, Woe to him that increased that which is not his, how long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. And what is thick clay? Death. And just to prove that for you, let's go into that word thick clay. And I'm supposed to even brought out this recently, showing you the times that we're in. It's a weight of pleasure, heavy debt. So the Hebrew word is Ibatiat. Ibatiat. Heavy debt. And America is in trillions of dollars in debt, yo. We're in some interesting times, guys. You know, time to buckle down and continue to push this word, yo. And if we did have a hard, time for go harder. You know? So with that, I want to say Kalalal, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Yahweh Kodesh. Shalom.